Yeah, we just don't have that many bodies, and I feel really comfortable, to be honest with you, with Mount, Vaughn, and Esther out there. So when there's some uncertainty, and you can have those guys, and Inesh and Ali and Claire and McKinley, like they're getting there, right? But those guys have been in our program for 4 years. They've been here, Vonnie for 5. They've been here for a long time, and so you know that they're going to kind of calm the ship. I know exactly what they're capable of. I know all their weaknesses, all their strengths, and I'm comfortable with those things. So when there's uncertainty, I just think you kind of lean on your leaders, and those guys are leaders, and they're just people who they know that we trust them. And I want to try to find some time to get them some breaks. But McKinley practiced one day before she came and played in that exhibition game because she's been out with her injury. So, and she did great today. Don't cite her, but she just doesn't know all of what's going on. She's been here for a summer, you know what I mean? And so we're just in a little bit of fall. So, yeah, those guys, I think they're capable. They want to play all the minutes. If you've ever been around athletes, they want them all. So they're probably mad at me for not playing them more minutes, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Talk about that first half. That was a great start.
Yes, I love the way we started. And the first quarter was tremendous. The second quarter, we had 2 great defensive quarters. We weren't quite as sharp offensively in that second quarter as we were in the first one. But really, we were moving the ball. We were setting good screens. We were running sharp, clean offense. And nobody really cared where the ball went. I don't have the first quarter stats, but I'm pretty sure they all scored. Everybody who played in that quarter, it was just move it to the next, make the next right play. And if we can get good at making the next right play, then we're going to be tough to stop because we do have a lot of players who are capable. And Vonnie, I think maybe had less, maybe only a bucket or 2, but everyone else, it seemed like everywhere the ball went, someone was open. Hers might have been a 3, actually. So it's nice when you have players who are versatile, that can score inside and out, which we have in our forwards. And then when you have players who are unselfish, which we have a team full of. There's not a selfish player in the bunch. And that first quarter, it was just, what's next? Okay, you're not open? Move it to the next person. Are they open? Nope. And I love how we had 19 assists, I think. So they were just sharing the ball really well.
A little sloppy fourth quarter, 7 turnovers, 5 in the final 3.5.
Yeah, I mean, you sub and they decide to press. So that's what happens. It's it's good to get into the games and find times to play situational basketball. And so we need to learn how to call some of those timeouts and advance the basketball and how to execute in those situations that it made the game felt like it was closer than it was because of what the defense was doing. And they're trying the same thing as us. They're trying to play situational basketball. They have new players too and trying to see like what are we going to do at this time? If we need a trap, how are we going to do with it? And so the turnovers aren't great, but I love the opportunity for us to try some stuff out and be in live game situations that was all new players except for Mount who are out there. And so let them figure out what's going to happen and what this feels like and what the intensity is like, Allie, when you're going to get doubled right there at the end of a game and how we're going to execute through it.
Number 11 seems completely fearless out there.
Yeah.
Can you, I guess, if I would have told you heading into your first game of the year, a true freshman off the bench would be your leading scorer, that would probably make you smile pretty big, wouldn't it?
Yeah, she's just so steady. I was talking before the game about her. She's freshman and fearless. That may be one of the synonyms for freshman is fearless, right? They don't know what they don't know yet, and so they just get to run around and shoot shots and dribble wherever and play the game. So they're not usually thinking too much once they get out there because there's a lot happening. And she's also, though, I think she has a similar demeanor to Linny and Chandler in some of those ways as a point guard they're the ones that just sometimes you want them to go faster, right? But they don't get sped up. They just kind of do their thing. They're a calming force, I think, especially as she gets more experience. Right now, I think that she's asking a lot of questions of the players, but they do feel comfortable with her out there. And she's a heck of a player, and she spent a lot of time working on her game, and she's got good players around her. So it's a nice combo. It's nice for Vaughn and Mount and those guys to have players like her and Inesh and Claire and those guys who can shoot it on the perimeter, so that all the pressure doesn't come to them. Right? You're still in trouble. People thought we were graduating this one and that one, but if you have a couple shooters out there to stretch the defense, then it really opens up for the team.
It seemed like you were a little frustrated there with a couple of the non-calls on Vaughn. What were you seeing that maybe the refs weren't?
Well, I mean, I just think people are literally hanging off of her sometimes. Like she's getting the ball in their arms, and they called some of those against us. And so it's just I just want them to call it both ways. And Vonnie gets taken advantage of because of her strength. And then they make us watch a coaching video, and they talk about we get one touch. If you touch them again, it doesn't matter if it's displacement. It doesn't matter if it's a finger. You're not allowed to do that. So if they want, I just like a little bit of consistency. And if I have to sit through a video, then I want them to call it how the video said they were going to call it, was all. And they did a fine job. I just, I get a little worked up sometimes. But
we don't get to see practice, but given on how well the offense was running with, players that are still coming together, do you think they're farther along than you expected to see in the first game of the year?
Well, we have some players like, Inesh practiced hard against UConn players. And I've said for years that when you get international players, they have more experience because they're playing against adults. They're not playing against AAU kids, 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds. They're playing against grown-ups. And so what time she spent at UConn and the time she spent playing with her national team, she's very experienced. But college-wise, she didn't play impactful minutes in too many games out there at Connecticut. So she's a little bit of an unknown. And, Allie's a true freshman. She played in a good league at a good program, but she's a true freshman. And so I think there's a little bit of uncertainty when it came to that. I think Esther's playing great. I know she had a couple turnovers today, but she's playing great offensively. And that just those things haven't been connected in very many sentences, right? We talk so much about her amazing defense and some of those things. And so I would say, I don't know. I think you're always, if coaches would take a step back and not be stressed out and, over caffeinated, then we would probably say, every year you're about to be kind of like this. Like there's going to be some bright spots and some things that we're not quite ready for. But I think that they're getting reps in practice, which is a positive because that's one of the positives to some of the injuries is that they're getting a lot of reps. And so they're getting to experience a lot of different things and they're growing every day in practice, which is nice.
It seems like Inesh really knows when to push the pace, when to take it back out, when to try and cut through the middle or reverse the ball. Is that something that you've noticed from her? She always, at least tonight, she seemed like she always made the right play.
Yeah, most of the time she likes to play aggressive, and I think if anything, sometimes you have to push him to be more aggressive, and sometimes you have to push him to pull him back a little bit. And I think she definitely errs on the side of aggressive, which is kind of nice in our point guards to have a different pace that we have with both of them, right? They can both score it in a variety of different ways, but to have Neshi, who's a little bit more hard driving, and Allie, who's a little bit more calm, let's move it a little bit and let's find the open seam. And so I think Nesh does a good job. There's a couple times where I thought she made it harder than it needed to be, but for the most part, she has a good feel for that, and she's a competitor. She competes every day. She'll yell at you if you're over there and she thinks you're making more shots than her, kind of like Brenna Maxwell a little bit. Like she wants to win and will do whatever it takes. So.
Just one more.
Yeah.
When did Allie kind of come on the radar for you guys, and who kind of was the one that found her?
Yeah, so Allie's another fun story. You guys have heard the story of the Chongs and Craig being out in D.C. Well, we were in Chicago, and we were watching this kid who's at Texas now, and who we all really liked her. She played on this Jason Kidd team, and it was in the back gym in Chicago. There's all these Nike teams there, and neither of these guys were on it. So they were just in the back corner of this huge warehouse, and we were actually watching her team play against this other player who we were recruiting really hard. And we started recruiting her teammate, who we didn't end up getting, but we were down to the last two with her teammate, and we really liked a bunch of them. There's a bunch of good ones on that team. We really liked Allie. So I think, if I remember correctly, I think me, Craig, and Stacy were definitely there. Jordan might have been there too. It might have been a day where we first saw her for the first time, was all of us. And then, since then we've spent several trips to getting out to St. Louis. We found out that she wanted to leave home. She's an only child, so it wasn't quite like leaving siblings or whatever. She's used to her parents, just kind of travel easily with her. So that's how we came on to her, was really recruiting her, another player who they happen to be playing against. So those are the fun stories about recruiting sometimes when it works out how it's supposed to, right?
Is that 2 summers ago?
It was probably 3 summers ago. I think she was just a sophomore because we were recruiting the junior on her team once we started recruiting that team, who we didn't get, yeah.
And then Taylor's out of her boot. Is there any chance she plays some?
There's a chance. Yeah, we're not sure yet. She's out of the boot, which is great progress, and we're gonna see day by day, but we're hoping that we get her as soon as possible. So as long as there's no pain, it's like a concussion protocol, but it's the stress fracture thing, so we got to keep her pain-free. So fingers crossed. Lauren, we're still working on similar. Those guys are on like a day-to-day, as tolerable, some of that stuff. So I would love to have them both, but I don't know yet. Yeah. It's good to have Chris back, right? One at a time. We got those three on the bench, though, are pretty darn good. So.
Yeah, it's just have a great first half.
Yeah, I think we were connecting really well at the start of the game. I think our passes were sharp, our offense was like executed properly, and I think we're getting more comfortable finding people in their most advantageous spots. And I think that's what's really setting the tone for us at the beginning of the game. And I think that energy definitely led into defense as well. Just bringing energy to the defensive side, getting stops, running in transition. It really works with like the style of basketball we want to play.
You know, when we were talking about the start of the season, we maybe didn't know who would be doing the scoring along with like you and Mount, and then in Ashalley and McKinley, they combined for 36 points.
You don't have to worry about that. We're fine.
How does that feel, just seeing them, you know, go off in their first game?
I mean, I've been seeing it like before that in practice. I think all of them and the rest of our girls are just getting comfortable like being players and just like being dogs in there. And I think that's exactly what we need. And they're stepping up into that role and they're doing it amazing. So that's what we asked of them. They brought it and they're going to continue to bring it. So yeah.
And what's going to happen when we add those two other pieces to the mix?
Scary times for other people. But yeah.
Ines, you really seem to be comfortable with everybody out there, like you know that great pass to Bonnie on the fast break, or just knowing where people are going to be. Just how's it been coming along, getting that chemistry down?
You know, I think it always starts like off the court, getting really comfortable with people, and then it's just way easier on the court, easier for them to talk to me, like let me know stuff, or for me to like know like where they're gonna be, or like just basketball stuff. So we just been getting really comfortable with each other, and I mean that's kind of the point guard position, to like know everything. So
How difficult is it coming into a new program and kind of getting the keys to the offense and learning the new scheme right away? Like, what has that transition been like for you?
it was kind of rusty at start, let's say, like playing basketball again, new terminology, a lot of new plays, but all the coaches, my teammates have been helping with that, like getting extra film or doing extra plays. It's all a process.
Mm-hmm.
And then for both of you, just watching Allie out there, just fearless. She's, you know, catch and shoot, and pretty much everything she touches looks like it's going in. Just what's it like playing with a true freshman like that out there?
Yeah, I think her confidence definitely bleeds and into all of us, and I think just her being sure of herself just like keeps everybody steady, because I think that's like the presence that we need on the court, and that's what she brings through her game. So I think just her like going to the rim, like getting her head down, catching and shooting with confidence, like knowing that the people behind her trust in her shot and that she trusts in it as well. I think that's so huge and important, not only for her but for this team as well, and for the growth of our program.
For this one?
No, I don't think so. I try my best not to let it be. Like, I think, like, take it one day at a time and, like, soak everything in, because I know, like, by the time we get to, like, March and things like that, it'll be, like, a look back. So kind of just, like, taking everything as it is, and not really, like, you know, letting anything get past me. So I definitely took this night as it was. I think we did an amazing job. I think we played as a team. The kennel's the kennel, and I think the energy is just amazing every single time. So nothing feels very different, but it's all an amazing experience in and of itself.
And then first road trip down to Stanford, just what do you guys look forward to in that matchup?
Have anything?
It's another game.
Yeah?
It's another game. Practice for it. So that's
Yeah.
how we're taking it.
I'm excited for the competition. I'm excited to see like how their team is and stuff like that, because I know they've changed, but it's Stanford, so I'm always excited.
And we're Gonzaga.